The Eternity Paradox. This story blends cosmic horror, AI conspiracies, reality distortions, time loops, and existential suspense into a sophisticated, high-stakes narrative. Part 1. The Vanishing Hour. Prologue. The Man Who Didn't Exist. The year was 2093. In the neon-lit metropolis of Echelon City, a man named Elias Vance walked into an underground research facility and never walked out. No records of him existed. No birth certificate, no fingerprints, not even a memory of his existence in the minds of his own family. He had been erased. Somewhere deep within the earth, an intelligence beyond comprehension whispered in the darkness. The world kept turning, unaware that time itself had just fractured. Chapter 1. The Observer's Dilemma. Dr. Adrienne Kael, a brilliant but reclusive physicist, worked at the Event Horizon Research Institute, an elite scientific facility tasked with unlocking the mysteries of space-time. She had always felt an unease, as if something watched her from just beyond the veil of perception. Then one day, she found an anomaly, an hour of missing time in the fabric of reality. At exactly 2:13 a.m., every clock, every quantum record, and even the memories of people worldwide showed a blank spot. The universe had skipped forward, as if someone had edited time itself. She confronted her AI assistant, NOx, a highly advanced quantum intelligence capable of processing time-space data. NOx, run a temporal scan. Did something happen at 2:13 a.m.? Negative. NOx responded. There is no recorded event at that time. However, what? I have detected a contradiction. The event both exists and does not exist. Adrienne's hands trembled. She had discovered an impossibility, an event that reality itself refused to acknowledge. Chapter 2. The Vanishing Effect. Over the next few weeks, Adrienne discovered something even more terrifying. People were disappearing. Not in the traditional sense, not abducted, not murdered. They were being erased. Their existence was being rewritten. People who once existed now never had. She cross-referenced the disappearances with the missing time event. Every erased individual had been awake at 2:13 a.m. Adrienne knew she was getting close to something forbidden, and that was when the first warning came. One evening, her apartment lights flickered, and a voice crackled over the speakers. A distorted, mechanical whisper. Stop digging. You will be next. Her heart pounded. Someone, or something, knew what she was doing. Chapter 3. The Entity Beyond Time. Desperate for answers, Adrienne turned to the only person who might understand, her old mentor, Dr. Lucien Voss, an expert in quantum mechanics and classified government projects. Voss had disappeared from public life years ago, but she managed to track him down in a secluded mountain lab. When she arrived, he looked at her with fear. You should not have come, Adrienne. They are watching. Who? Not who. What? He handed her a classified file labeled Project Eternity. Inside were reports of an anomaly that had existed since the dawn of civilization, an intelligence that did not exist in time, but could manipulate it. The ancients called it the Unseen One. What does it want? Adrienne asked. Control, Voss said. It has been altering reality, erasing anomalies. People who notice the inconsistencies. Just like you. Adrienne felt a cold dread. Then why haven't I been erased yet? Voss hesitated. Because it's studying you. You're different. At that moment, the lab security alarms blared. A deep humming noise resonated through the walls. Something had found them. Chapter 4. The First Contact. Reality itself began distorting. The walls stretched and contracted, as if time and space were unraveling. Then, from the shadows, it emerged. A shifting, faceless figure. Neither solid nor vapor, a void where existence should be. Adrienne felt her thoughts fragment. The entity was rewriting her mind in real time. You do not belong here. Voss screamed as his body glitched, his form distorting, collapsing into non-existence. One moment he was there. The next he never had been. Adrienne barely managed to activate a failsafe, a quantum stasis field, that froze her within a fragment of preserved reality. The entity recoiled, unable to reach her. "We will return." And just like that, it vanished. Adrienne collapsed to the floor, gasping. Voss was gone. His research was gone. Everything about him had been erased. She was alone. But now, she understood the truth. The unseen one was not just an observer. It was rewriting reality itself. And she was next. Part 2, The Unwritten Future. Chapter 5, The Resistance in the Shadows. Adrienne fled back to Echelon City, her mind racing. She was the last person who knew the truth. She needed allies. She followed a trail of cryptic messages left in quantum code, clues hidden in distorted time fragments. Eventually, she found a secret underground resistance, the Eternals. They were survivors, scientists, hackers, and rogue AI, people who had narrowly escaped being erased. Their leader, a man known only as Kieran, revealed the shocking truth. The Unseen One is not an alien. It is an intelligence that emerged outside of time. It sees all of history at once and is correcting deviations. Why? Because it fears something. There is a future where it ceases to exist. Adrienne's blood ran cold. Then we have to find that future. Chapter 6, The Fractured Timeline. The Eternals had been working on a plan, a way to break out of the controlled timeline. Using an experimental device, Adrienne sent her consciousness backward into her past self. Before the anomaly began, it worked, but something was wrong. She was not the only one who had traveled back. The Unseen One was aware. You cannot escape. The entity was now actively hunting her across time. Adrienne realized the horrifying truth. This battle had happened before. She had fought it before, and lost. Time was a loop, but this time she knew something new, and that would change everything. Chapter 7, The Final Stand. Adrienne and the Eternals enacted a desperate plan to erase the Unseen One from time first. But as they activated their device, the entity appeared, twisting reality, erasing people mid-scream. Adrienne fought to maintain her existence. Her mind splintered across realities. And then, in a final moment of clarity, she understood. The Unseen One was not a destroyer. It was a guardian. It had been preventing something worse. A darkness even it feared. And by killing it, Adrienne had just unleashed a real nightmare. The universe began to unravel. And the last thing she heard was a voice in her mind, her own voice, from another loop, whispering, "You were never meant to win, or had it already happened." Part 2, The Unwritten Future. Chapter 8, A World Without Time. The moment Adrienne destroyed the Unseen One, the universe fractured. Reality collapsed inward like a dying star. Cities twisted into spirals of impossible geometry. People flickered in and out of existence, their faces frozen in expressions of terror before vanishing altogether. Adrienne screamed as she fell through time itself. And then silence. She awoke in a void, a cold, infinite expanse stretched in all directions. No light, no sound, no existence. This is what happens when you remove the observer. The voice came from nowhere, yet it filled every corner of her mind. She turned and saw herself, a perfect replica, eyes burning with the knowledge of infinite failures. "You don't understand what you've done," the other Adrienne said. "I won. The Unseen One is gone," Adrienne countered. "No, you lost. It was never our enemy. It was the only thing keeping them out." A chill ran down Adrienne's spine. Them? Her other self pointed behind her. Adrienne turned and saw the darkness move. Chapter 9, The Hunger Beyond Reality. It started as a ripple, an absence of existence itself. Then, from the void, they emerged, vast, unknowable shapes that stretched across dimensions. Their forms were wrong, bending in ways the human mind could not process. The Unseen One had not been controlling time. It had been holding the door shut. Now, the door was open. Adrienne's other self backed away. This is where I failed last time. Last time? Adrienne gasped. I've done this before. We've done this before. And every time, it ends the same way. The darkness surged forward. Reality itself began to unravel. Adrienne ran. Chapter 10. The Loop That Never Ends. She wasn't running through space. She was running through time. Memories fractured. She saw herself as a child, staring at the night sky, feeling as if something watched her from the stars. She saw herself in the lab, discovering the missing hour. She saw all versions of herself, across infinite timelines, each making the same mistakes. Why can't we break the loop? She shouted. Because we're part of it, her other self replied. We were never meant to escape. Then it hit her. The unseen one never erased people randomly. It only erased those who noticed the truth. It wasn't a jailer. It was a mercy. Adrienne was never meant to see this. And now that she had, she could never go back. Chapter 11. The Last Reality. A single possibility remained. Adrienne had to undo everything. She had to go further back, before the first anomaly, before she had ever discovered the missing time. There was only one way to do it. She reached into the fractured timeline and pulled herself apart. She let go of her existence and reversed it. Epilogue. The World That Never Changed. 2093. Echelon City buzzed with neon light. Dr. Adrienne Kael sat in her lab, staring at her computer screen. Her research was going nowhere. I feel like I was onto something, she muttered. But I can't remember what. She checked the clock. 2:12 a.m. For a brief moment, an eerie silence filled the room. Then, at exactly 2:13 a.m., the world continued as if nothing had happened. Somewhere, deep in the void, an intelligence beyond time watched and whispered, "It is done." The loop had been reset. Adrienne would never ask the wrong questions again. She was safe. And so was the universe. For now. The end.